So, AI promises this incredible world of productivity, right? A place where we can build the absolute perfect tool to solve any problem we have. But if that's true, why does that perfect tool so often end up just sitting there, collecting digital dust? If you've ever poured weeks into building some amazing AI system only to never actually use it, trust me, you are not alone. Let's dig into this weird gap between what AI promises and what we actually experience.
I mean, does this sound familiar to you? You spot a problem, you map out this incredible automated solution, you spend hours, maybe days building it out, and then what happens? You find yourself right back where you started, just using a plain old Word doc you've used for years. It is a super common and, let's be honest, a deeply frustrating feeling for so many of us.
You know, there's actually a name for this whole experience. It's called the AI productivity paradox. And it's this really strange, kind of counterintuitive loop, where the more powerful our tools get, the more complicated our problems seem to become.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. The quote you're seeing here, it's from a real person, an AI workshop attendee named Jag. She's a sharp entrepreneur, and she spent weeks building 2 custom apps to manage her entire workflow. So 3 weeks later, where was she? You guessed it. Right back in her simple Word document, with those shiny new systems just sitting there, completely untouched.
Jag's story just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the heart of this paradox. We start off trying to solve a real problem, like being disorganized. But in our hunt for the perfect solution, we accidentally create a brand new problem, a system that's so complex and intimidating that just the thought of using it is more stressful than the original mess we were trying to fix.
So, how does this even happen? Right? How do we go from having a clear, simple goal to a project that's so over the top, so over-engineered that we just give up on it? Well, it's a journey down the rabbit hole, and you might be surprised to learn it follows a very predictable pattern.
And this isn't just about a single project going off the rails. No, it's a repeatable cycle of thinking. In fact, the workshop host, Ian, he even admitted he fell into this exact trap while he was preparing the presentation that this whole thing is based on. He created like 6 different versions of his slides, kept expanding the scope until he felt totally lost and overwhelmed.
So this cycle, this spiral of over-engineering, it follows a pretty clear 6-step pattern. It all starts with something simple, but then you see all the new possibilities and the scope just explodes. Before you know it, you're totally disoriented, lost in all the details you've just created. That leads to feeling completely overwhelmed, like your nervous system is screaming, "This is too much." And from there, the last steps are almost a given. You just abort the whole project and go right back to your old, safe, simple habits.
So here's the really crucial part. We need to understand why this happens. Why do we abandon these powerful tools we spend so much time and energy building?
You know, it's really easy to blame the technology, isn't it? Oh, the app was too clunky, or the AI just wasn't smart enough. But what if the problem isn't the tool at all? What if it's something way deeper, something about our own human biological response to all the complexity we've created for ourselves?
Well, this biological drive actually has a name. It's called cognitive grounding. It's basically our nervous system's emergency response to digital overwhelm. When we feel scattered and lost in a complex project, our brain craves something tangible, something simple to feel calm again, like a notebook or a whiteboard. So going back to that Word doc, that isn't a failure. That's your brain trying to ground itself so you can feel back in control.
Okay, but here is the good news. We can absolutely break this cycle. We do not have to be a victim of this pattern. There's a really simple 3-step mental model we can use to spot this runaway train, stop it in its tracks, and actually get back to shipping.
Step 1 is the simplest, but maybe the hardest. You just have to notice. It's all about developing that self-awareness to recognize when you're starting to head down that rabbit hole. It's that moment you realize, hey, I'm on version 12 of this plan, or wait a minute, I'm trying to build a spaceship just to go to the grocery store. You just have to catch yourself in the act.
All right, so once you've noticed the pattern, the very next step is to just pause. Seriously, stop everything and ask yourself one incredibly important question. What is the actual essential goal here? This pulls you out of the weeds and reconnects you with your original purpose before all that complexity snuck in.
And that leads us straight to the final and most powerful step, simplify. With that essential goal back in sharp focus, you now have to identify the absolute simplest, most direct path forward. We're not looking for the perfect path or the path with all the cool features. We're looking for the one thing you can do right now to make real, meaningful progress. So all this theory is great, but what does this framework actually look like in practice? Let's make it really concrete. Let's apply it directly to that sales pipeline problem that our workshop attendee, Jag, was dealing with.
So just as a reminder, Jag felt her whole sales process was a complete mess. It was scattered across a bunch of different documents and notes, and she knew she was losing potential customers and revenue because of all this disorganization. That's what pushed her to start building that super complex sales pipeline app in the first place.
So on the left here, you can see the rabbit hole she went down. This perfect, fully automated multi-stage funnel. It's an incredible vision for sure, but it is also a massive, totally overwhelming project. Now look at the right. What's the simplest path forward? She already has contacts scattered in different Excel sheets. So the most direct first step isn't to build a whole new universe. It's just to get all of those names into one single, organized list. That's it.
Let's see how our framework totally transforms this impossible task into something she can actually do. First, she can notice. Whoa, my desire to build a perfect system is the very thing that's stopping me from doing anything at all. Then she can reground and remember her essential goal. You know what? The point isn't to have a beautiful CRM. The point is to contact people and make sales. And finally, that allows her to simplify down to one concrete next step. The very first thing I need to do is get all my contacts out of those different spreadsheets and into one single list. See, that's a task she can start, and more importantly, a task she can finish.
So this all brings us to one final question, and this one is for you. Think about your own projects right now. What is that one perfect system you're dreaming of that's keeping you totally stuck in the planning phase? And what would it look like to apply this framework, to notice the pattern, reground in your real goal, and simplify it down to something that's just good enough to get shipped today?